Before there was Bone Hill Road, there was Moonchild. Directed by Todd Sheets in 1994, Moonchild is a shot-on-video, post-apocalyptic, sci-fi, horror, genre-bending action flick. A political prisoner escapes from a totalitarian regime in a dystopian society. What he doesn't know is that he has actually been turned into a karate-kicking werewolf. Now, this was, as I said, directed by Todd Sheets, and it supposedly had a budget of only $500. Now, it's definitely low budget, but I'm not quite sure if $500 is the truth. I'm going to have to ask Todd Sheets on that one. Maybe one of these days, if I ever get him on the channel, I'll be able to ask him. Science fiction, horror, martial arts, this movie has it all. For a shot-on-video film, the scope of this movie is huge. It's incredibly ambitious, especially being as how this was Todd Sheets' second big kind of breakout film. Now, he had done tons of shorts and films, and then he did his revolutionary zombie bloodbath, which is a staple of the underground zombie genre. If you have not seen the original zombie bloodbath, that is a must-watch. But with that being said, it was still a zombie film. This film, on the other hand, is just gigantic compared to that. And as an aspiring filmmaker myself, and of course the zero-budget genre, this movie gave me ideas and tips and tricks on how to do the things I would like to do. And some awesome, just really cool insights came to me while watching this film. Now, this film, for me, actually did start out a little bit slow. I mean, it's not that it's a slow film. It's pretty well paced. I just really didn't get into it. I was a little bit distracted at first. And I was like, you know what? Shaking myself out of that. And I said, put everything aside and let's watch this movie. And I'm so glad I did, because once I did, this movie flew by. It was so much fun. I had a blast with this film. I only have 2 cons for this movie, so I'm going to kind of mix those in with my pros this time instead of doing them separate, because one of the cons goes with one of the pros. I will lead off with one of the cons, though, and that is there's a plot point in this movie, and this is a slight spoiler here, guys, not a big one, just a small one. There's a plot point in this movie where the main character has a bomb implanted in his stomach, and they have 72 hours to do what they got to do and get this bomb out and just, save everybody. And there's no sense of urgency, because as soon as they're told they have 72 hours, the very next line is, you know what, let's just sit around and wait for the rest of the night, and then we'll go out in the morning. If I was told I had a bomb in my stomach, I'd be like, yeah, let's get a move on. Let's get going. Let's do this right now. Just saying. Guys, this film has it all. It has cyborgs. It has ninjas. It has werewolves. What more could you want from a film? The sets, I want to mention the fight pit in particular, are really well done. To use parts of the city that are kind of run down and grungy looking, and to use junkyards and places like that to make your, post-apocalyptic world come to life, that to me is a brilliant move when it comes to this low budget stuff. I don't even know if he had a permit, which I doubt. I doubt there was a permit involved. I'm really, kind of expecting this was done on some guerrilla shooting type levels. Maybe they got some permissions from some people. Hey, can I use this property right here? Can I do this? But I'll bet you anything, they went to some of the parts of the town, parts of the city. This was filmed in Kansas City, where, they weren't great parts. And so they filmed there because it looked phenomenal for what they were doing. Phenomenal. You know what the fuck I'm trying to say. The costumes in this movie, they're cheap, but they're extremely well done. They really do work with this film, in my opinion, with the exception of one costume. And that's this, kind of like the second in command to the big bad in the movie. He's dressed almost in like camo fatigues with a samurai outfit over the top. And I just thought that was a little weird looking. I get that they're going for this whole totalitarian regime kind of thing. There's some people in different kind of uniforms, and stuff like that. that they use probably by getting stuff from, military surplus stores or whatever. But I just didn't particularly like that one, especially because it kind of just like hangs on the dude a little bit haphazardly. Maybe if he would have straightened it up a little bit more and maybe put some padding under it so it fit a little better, it might have been a better look. But that's just my issue with the film. And those are my only two small issues with the film, the two that I've mentioned. Other than that, I had a blast with this movie. There is no, big special effects. I read a review that bashed this film. And it talks about a car chase scene. They're like, oh, it looks like it was filmed at 10 miles an hour. It probably was. But they don't have, at least at this time, they didn't have professional stuntmen. They didn't have CGI. They didn't have any of the shit to make it to where, they could do it safely and make it look completely great. And I think it looks pretty good. They did some things to speed up the footage a little bit, and I think it looks not bad, for what they're trying to do. They're doing action sequence shit on the fucking, the car chase. Kind of like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's on the top of the Nazi truck and he's beating them up and he's throwing them off the truck. They do that kind of shit here. And I think they did a decent job at it. Remember, guys, you got to remember, this is low budget cinema, extremely low budget if the budget was only $500. This is one of Todd Sheets' earliest films, and he does a great fucking job, and it's all shot on video. I don't think the budget was $500. The reason I say that is just the makeup and special effects alone on this film look like they cost more. There's a handgun that is way too big for the little kid that's holding it that I know costs more than $500. So unless that's, just something that one of the guys happen to own, that thing costs more than $500. Or at least it may not, it did then. It cost more than $500. Just saying. At the end of this film, we get this great Rocky 3 moment. You guys remember how Rocky 3 ended? I'm talking about the very last scene. Very last scene of Rocky 3, the way it ended. We get one of those in this movie. Then they do go to this bad guy monologue, which is okay, and that's fine. But I think if they would have switched that and put the bad guy stuff first and then that Rocky 3 ending, it would have been even better because that was the perfect way to end the film. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was cool. Guys, this movie is fun. It really is. And I think the transformation they did using the technology of the time in post-production and trying to edit it together, the early 90s morphing and all that, especially when it was already shot on video. It wasn't shot in a major studio. This was shot on video. They did a really good job. This is a really fun movie. This Visual Vengeance line has continued to kick ass. Having a blast from the past with these films, if you know what I'm saying. These are just a great trip down nostalgia lane, even though I haven't seen any of them until now. It just brings back so many memories of the time that these films were made in. And I've been having a blast with them. I said that already, didn't I? Oh well, I get excited and I get that way. This is Bronco Juggalo saying tune in next time. Thank you all for joining me on Wild Eye Wednesday. Peace.
Sometimes you just gotta ignore your enemies. Sometimes you just gotta make them bleed. I've headed up to here with all the fake shit. Fake friends huddled up, that's a snake pit. King Kong about to rumble on some ape shit. Stab you with some scissors.